What is up, everybody? Steve here. I hope you are doing well. Today I'm going to talk about the future of the housing market on Fort Myers Beach after Hurricane Ian. I've personally lived on Fort Myers Beach. We used to own on a road called Flamingo, and we got to get out there yesterday and drive through the island. It is devastating to say the least. I've seen videos, I've seen pictures. And finally, we were able to get out there yesterday. We were able to help out a neighbor in need. So let's get ahead and dive in. I'm also going to minimize myself and show you guys our actual drive into Fort Myers Beach so you guys can see firsthand the devastation that this hurricane took. I believe that there is a good chance that the housing market may increase, not necessarily in the short term, but the long term. It may skyrocket values more than ever before. So Margaritaville has started construction. They're probably more than halfway through at this point in time. They did a series of lot acquisitions and tore down buildings and everything else over the last several years on the north end of Fort Myers Beach, close to Times Square, that basically got completely wiped out. Margaritaville is there. They're up and running. They are building, and they have a tight deadline to basically complete that project. They're probably going to be one of the few businesses out there that are going to be up and running in a timely manner, in my estimation. There are many different commercial areas that were devastated on Fort Myers Beach that's going to lead to further development, which I believe is going to appreciate prices across the board on Fort Myers Beach. So if we look at mid-island like Junkanoo was completely wiped out. That whole area is going to be leveled out. You have the Red Coconut as well, the RV park there, completely leveled out. You have Times Square completely leveled out. And then you have a handful of other smaller hotels that were completely leveled out. So whether they go ahead and rebuild or not is really, we don't know at this point in time, but there's going to be other entities like Margaritaville and other bigger entities chomping at the bit to buy out these parcels of land in desirable areas on the island. So in the short term, I believe we're going to see properties come to market probably under market value. But over time, I think larger commercial developers who come in and build a higher end experience, it'll attract more people with more money that's just going to drive up prices on Fort Myers Beach. Now, people who own on Fort Myers Beach are up against some serious hurdles. So you have people who bought into condo complexes. So even a prior condo complex that I owned over on Bonita Beach, the condo itself survived, but the condo building and the surrounding infrastructure is unsafe. So a lot of the condo owners there probably won't be able to even get into their properties and start living and using their properties for maybe 6 months, maybe 12 months, maybe longer. I foresee that happening on certain condo complexes on Fort Myers Beach as well. So I believe we might see an influx of condos come to the market at a basically a reduced rate. Now, people who own single family homes are up against some battles as well. So you're going to have certain people who basically they're going to have to rebuild. They're going to have to basically tear down that property that they have, even if it's still there. I mean, if you look at the video footage, some property or some houses are completely gone anyway. They're wiped off the lot. So let's take for an example somebody's insurance claim. Maybe they didn't have the best insurance, and the claim for replacement value was only $300,000. Now, to build to new standards, to new hurricane standards, a property built on island, on pilings, could be upwards of $700,000, $800,000, $900,000, over $1 million, depending on what you're putting into it. And a lot of people might not have the capability of doing that, or not wanting to take on debt to do that as well, or not even have the time to go through the building process. So I believe that some sellers are going to be in a position where they're going to take the claim money, say it's $300,000. They're going to liquidate the property itself, say that's $400,000. They got if they're free and clear, they got $700,000 in their pocket, and then they're probably going to move off of island. Now, those who do not have a complete loss could renovate their existing home, but maybe up against FEMA 50/50. I think a lot more people are hearing about this now, and it's something that's been around for a while, and I want to talk about some standard Q&A that we got from Fort Myers Beach. I will link it in the description for you guys as well, so you guys have full access to this. I'm just going to go over the main highlights with you guys so you guys have a thorough understanding. But people who think that they can go ahead and renovate the property or bring it back to livable condition may be up against a battle to do that and may be forced to ultimately just tear down their property. So this is vital information to really understand. By the way, there are other macro factors affecting real estate in a recessionary period: high mortgage rates, housing unaffordability, and a lot more. So if you're not subscribed, consider doing so. Let's jump into FEMA 50/50. So what is the 50% rule? The 50% rule is a regulation of the National Flood Insurance Program, also known as NFIP, that prohibits improvements to a structure exceeding 50% of its market value unless the entire structure is brought into full compliance with current flood regulations. This may include elevating the structure using flood-resistant materials and proper flood venting, among others. I mean, think about that for a second. If you have a house that's just on a monolithic slab on dirt, you know, to be able to raise that thing up 6 feet, 8 feet, or however high above the base flood elevation is going to be a significant expense, even if you have the ability to do it. There's some structures that, you know, may just crumble and not even be able to have the structural integrity to do it. What is substantial improvement and substantial damage? Any combination of repair, reconstruction, rehabilitation, addition, or other improvement of a building that the cumulative cost of which equals or exceeds 50% of the depreciated market value of the building or structure before improvement or repair is started. Will permits be issued for a substantial improvement? Yes, provided the plans demonstrate the entire structure is being brought into compliance. A repair improvement cost must be submitted, and again, it provides you guys the exact links of where to go to. What is considered market value? The price at which the property will change hands between a willing buyer and a willing seller. The town of Fort Myers Beach determines value in the following ways. Utilize the Lee County property appraisers assessed for taxation for the depreciated market value of the structure only. This is very important to understand. It's based on the structure only, not the land value. An independent appraisal for the structure only prepared and certified by a Florida licensed appraiser. Where can I find the value of the structure on Lee County property appraiser website? It's lepa.org, and if you download this or get this link, it's in a PDF format. You guys will have access to the links as well. Do maintenance projects count toward 50% calculation? Yes, maintenance projects of any type are logged toward the 50% rule. If the maintenance requires a permit from the town of Fort Myers Beach, the repair improvement cost form must be provided with the permit application. Even if a permit is not required by the Florida Building Code, i.e. renovation of cabinets, countertops, painting, etc., a repair improvement cost form is still required to be submitted to the town to track cumulative improvement to the structure as it relates to the 50% rule. So basically, anything that you do inside this property that's improving it is going to count toward the 50%. Is substantial improvement cumulative? According to the current town of Fort Myers Beach, substantial improvement involves any repair, reconstruction, rehabilitation, addition, or improvement of a building or structure, the cost of which equals or exceeds 50% of the market value of the structure before improvement or repair is started. Is the cost of an improvement discounted if the owner does the work or materials are donated? No. The values placed on materials must equal the actual cost or estimated cost. The value placed on labor must be estimated based on applicable hourly wage scales for the type of construction work. Improvement costs cannot be discounted to keep the cost estimate below the 15%. Are there any items that can be excluded from the cost of improvement? Items that should not be counted toward the cost of repairs include plans, specifications, survey, building permits, etc. Improvements to the land such as driveways, pools, seawalls, etc. are not included in the 50% rule. That's good because I know a lot of people's docks and pool screens and seawalls got really devastated during this time. So a lot of these people, I think, ultimately are just going to be in bad shape. They're going to be over that 50%. They're going to have really no other options to basically tear down the property. Other people, I think, are going to try to circumvent a little bit. They're going to get certain permits to get their property into a livable condition and then do other renovations without the town of Fort Myers Beach knowing. They're in a bad situation no matter what, and people lost their homes, and it's devastating for a lot of people. So I'm going to let the rest of this clip play so you guys can see our drive down Estero Boulevard, see some other devastation. As always, I appreciate you guys being with me here today, and I'll see you guys on the next video. See ya.